Hey everybody, this is Matthew, and I wanted to address a question I've been getting off and on. And the questions framework shows us that we should probably chat about this a little bit more. And so here's the scenario. You have a seller, the seller lives in a homeowners association, and the architectural review committee, which is typically people who want to go and pick apart everybody else's home, has found some level of issue with the property. And so they've noted this in the homeowners association packet. The buyer gets the packet. The seller may or may not have ever seen it. And then the buyer says, hey seller, there's 5 or 6 items here. I really need you to fix those so we can move forward. I'm putting you on notice. And the seller comes back and says, I agree to fix this and this, but not that and that. And then of course we get the questions of what is the seller required to fix? The good news is that the seller is required to fix everything, or at least address everything that comes up in the HOA rules. So let's say that your client is super eager and loves Caldwell Banker and paints the front door of their house blue. And the HOA come back and says, well, we never really paid attention to it before, but now that it's getting ready to be conveyed to someone else, we only allow dark colors, and here's our palette, and that's how we need to repaint the door. And the seller goes, I don't want to repaint my door. I love the blue door. And so the buyer says, but I don't want to accept the home in that condition. I don't want to accept the home in the position that the HOA has noted is a violation. Couple things. One, always know what your contract says. And although it's in an odd place seemingly, it makes a lot of sense. In your contract, in the very last paragraph of, I believe it's paragraph 22 under the title section, the very last paragraph says that the seller is responsible to making sure that we can transfer the home with clear title. Now remember, HOAs are given a lot of authority. Whether it's a good idea or bad idea to give them that much authority is up to debate, but they can even foreclose on property. They can put liens on properties for non-compliance, they can fine, they can do a bunch of stuff against the title. So in that title paragraph, one of the things the seller is agreeing to when they accept a contract is to bring the home into such a condition as to be in compliance with governing bodies, including the homeowners or property owners association. So if the homeowners association has noted this, it is the seller's obligation. It is not a negotiable issue. A couple things to help you with this. One, I know what the pushback is and fees and timelines and all the rest, but ask the HOA to do an inspection, especially if they're notoriously difficult to work with. Ask the HOA to do an inspection on a home before you put on the market or early on in the process. Number 2, remember it's not negotiable, but you really don't want to mix it up with the homeowners association and the home inspection contingencies at the same time. They should be handled differently. If you're the listing agent, you want your seller to know what their HOA obligations may be, which is why I recommend doing that inspection early on, so that they don't agree to a bunch of repairs for the homeowners home inspection, and then also later find out they have to do even more for the HOA. So that's one of the remedies. The second one is, although the seller has this obligation to repair, the buyer, through the goodness of their heart or negotiations, may elect to take on that liability on their own. They can go to closing with those outstanding HOA violations and obligations to repair. They just need to know they have to resolve it when they move in, or they're going to be continue to be fined and all the rest. And then lastly, you need to remember that the lender may have some hesitancy with accepting this if those things have been noted. They do have to be re-inspected. You can't prove that you have been into compliance without the inspection. And so we do get that question a lot, as well as, well, what requires the seller to go get inspection? It just says they have to bring in compliance. Well, I can't prove compliance without inspection. The whole point is that the seller has to work towards delivering the home without any known violations from the HOA. That's the intent. So again, if you have any questions, sometimes they get sticky or unique, feel free to reach out to your managers. They'll be happy to help you. And hopefully this helps. Thanks.